My name is Raymond Warner, and these are some of the things that I don't like about scootering. Before we move on, I just want to more so remind you guys that I love scootering. I've been riding for nearly 14 years. I've met a ton of great people. I've had a lot of really good times with friends, a lot of great trips, things like that. So I don't hate the sport at all. I wouldn't give up scootering for anything. I wouldn't trade it in for anything. Even like the times that I've had, I wouldn't trade any of those for anything. And I'll continue to ride as long as I can. These are just mainly just a few things that I've kind of experienced throughout the years that I just don't like. Now, I'm not attacking one specific person or any specific people for that matter. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm not trying to attack anybody's tendencies. I'm sure there's things that I've done that certain people don't like, and I'm totally fine with that, and you guys should be too. This is completely just opinionated from myself. It's just a few things that I want to express to you, and I'm gonna do my best not to piss anybody off. Now, this isn't something that a lot of people will really realize or necessarily have trouble with, but me being a public influencer in the sport of scootering and posting about my every single day life, it's just something that I've kind of seen and I've kind of read about in comment sections and things like that. It's not necessarily something that I like, but it is what it is. But one of the things that kind of pushes my buttons in the sport is the fact that if you don't ride for one day or you do something else, people instantly think that you're a traitor. Now, I think that's pretty ridiculous. People are all different. Everybody likes to do different things, whether it's a different hobby or you have some kind of a different job or something like that. So being different, I don't think that that's something that somebody shouldn't be proud of. I think that's really cool. And the thing I'm kind of referring to is the fact that when I ride skateboards, people seem to think that I'm trying to get out of scootering, and that's not the case at all. I love scootering, like I said. I just like skateboarding too. I enjoy it. It's something else that gives me a little bit more of a like a different challenge that I'm not used to every single day. So when I ride skateboards, I almost like kind of relate it to something that might help me in my scootering and kind of push me further in certain areas that maybe somebody else might not be good at, and I think that's really cool. Now, I'm going to take a very strong example that a lot of people had troubles with. I never thought it was an issue, but I'm going to take Tanner, for example, Tanner Fox. A lot of you guys know Tanner Fox. He was a scooter rider. He rode in a lot of competitions. I traveled and I saw Tanner all over the place in Texas, and I think I saw him a couple times, like in Arizona a couple times. I might be wrong, but anyways, I competed against him. I saw him on the road. He was doing his thing. He was having a great time. He enjoyed scootering, and he still does. He still loves scootering. But as soon as Tanner started to do other things, whether it had to do with cars, whether he got a girlfriend and he kind of started traveling around with her and hanging out with her a lot, started doing more of like an everyday vlog thing, everybody lost their freaking minds. It's not that big of a deal. I really don't think it was that big of a deal at all. Like I said, people change. People don't want to do the same thing for their entire lives, and that's okay. When I was younger, I liked to wear shirts that were really small. I don't know why I liked that. I don't know what the heck it was about it that I enjoyed, but I didn't want to do it anymore. I changed. That's a very different situation, but it kind of relates. Like, you don't want to do the same thing for the rest of your life. And Tanner was never somebody that, before I say this, again, I'm not trying to be offensive to anyone. Tanner was never somebody that really, how do I say this? Tanner was a great rider. Like I said, he traveled around a little bit. He had a couple sponsors underneath his belt, and he was doing his thing. He was having fun. But I never really saw Tanner as somebody that was like a huge influence in the sport at the time. Once Tanner really started to kind of blow up, when I say blow up, I kind of mean like venturing into like more of a vlog, like more of a YouTube channel for like the everyday person. That's when he really started to blow up. So when Tanner quit riding, I didn't really feel like we lost somebody that was huge in the sport. Again, he had a big name. I mean, he wasn't small. I'm not saying Tanner was a scooter kid whatsoever. He was just a scooter rider that had some followers on Instagram, and he kind of ventured off into something else, and that's okay. Everybody thinks that you should be a scooter rider and stay a scooter rider for the rest of your life, when in reality, that's not how things go. All right, on to the next one. Everybody's heard this one. Scootering is easy. Scootering's easier than blank. It's easier than blank. Whatever the heck the blanks are. I'm gonna use an easy one. Scootering is easier than skateboarding. Now, this is weird. Everybody feels the need to really come out and say like, oh, scootering's just as hard as everything else, which in a sense is true. There's certain tricks that scooter riders do that are exactly the same difficulty as a skateboarder or a BMX rider. They might not be anywhere near the same kind of trick, but there's different difficulty levels in everything. There's certain video game areas that are going to be just as hard as somebody else that's trying to do like a triple tilt for their first time. Although, let's be real, certain sports are harder to start than scootering. I know a lot of people are going to be really sour about me saying that, but I've ridden skateboards. I've ridden scooters for a very long time. Doing a kickflip on a skateboard is way harder than doing a tail up on a scooter. Now, I don't think that we should really be trying to argue the fact that scootering is easier or harder or whatever than the next thing. It's not that big of a deal. Starting out on a scooter is easier. Like I said, if you progress, there are certain things that are just as hard, if not harder, on a scooter than a skateboard, for example. I think airing out high on a scooter is harder than on a skateboard. Why do I think that? I think that because the coping makes a big issue for scooters. If you hit your front wheel on coping at all, you instantly like go right over, and just popping on to that back wheel off of coping is a lot harder. But you can't put a tail up and a kickflip in the same difficulty category. You can't do it. Kickflip's harder than a tail up. But I think a double tail up flat on a scooter is just as hard as a kickflip. Now, I've done both. I've learned both. I think that those two, a double tail up and a kickflip, I think that's where it gets to be pretty even. You have bars on a scooter. Anybody that has any hand-eye coordination and a little bit of strength, maybe some height on them, can probably tail up on a scooter. Not necessarily the same case as a skateboard. Like if you're tall and you have some strength, doesn't mean that you can flick your feet in the right direction, but it doesn't mean that you can't learn either. Anybody can learn anything. So I think that whole scootering is easier than this, or scootering is harder than this, I hate that. I can't freaking stand it. Am I saying scootering is easy? No. Am I saying skateboarding is easy? No. Am I saying skateboarding is the hardest thing in the world? No. Am I saying scootering is the hardest thing in the world? No. What I'm saying is I hate when people compare the two and try to make somebody look cooler than they are just because something's harder or easier than the other. I hate it. Next, not that many people on scooters like to go extremely high on certain things. Like the main thing that I'm referring to is quarter pipes or vert ramps or really big like mega ramp quarter. Not that many people like to blast quarters really high. Now, it's not just the fact that I think that everybody should go higher. Bleh. That's not what I'm saying. Again, I'm going to give you an example. This is something that a lot of people can agree and relate to. When you watch somebody on a scooter air out, let's just say 9 feet out of any quarter for that matter, but we're just going to say like a 10-foot quarter. That's freaking impressive. That is high and it's scary. And when you watch it, you're like, whoa, like that was crazy, right? But when you watch somebody air out 15 feet, so just a little bit higher, on a 28-foot tall mega ramp, that's freaking gnarly. Is it harder? No. I've done the both. I've aired out all really high on a mega ramp quarter. My max height on it was 16 feet. My max height on a normal quarter, I believe, was like 11 or 12, which was freaking high on a normal quarter pipe. I personally think that airing out on the mega ramp was a lot easier because of the fact that the quarter is freaking huge. Was it scarier? Yes. Was there a lot more risk? Yes. But was it harder? No. But to me, it felt way gnarlier to the people that were watching. It looked way gnarlier than anybody that airs out on a normal quarter pipe. Now, why is that? That's just because of the fact that you're going high in the air, and to the normal human, like the normal eye, that's freaking crazy because you're 40 feet in the air as opposed to 20. I think that there needs to be more of that in the sport. Now, again, I'm not saying that I'm the best. I'm not saying that I'm the master at airing out on mega ramp quarters. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not a cocky person. I'm not saying that at all. So please don't relate that to that. I'm just giving you guys an example. And I'm not the only person that's ever aired out on the mega ramp. That's not me. I'm just saying that I wish that there was more kind of, I don't want to say ballsiness, because there's some crazy people out there that do things that I will never do on my scooter, and they're freaking ballsy. I'm just saying that I wish people would kind of go to the larger ramps and kind of ride those and shred on those a little bit and do the things that they do on 10-foot or even 6-foot quarters. I wish that they would just take that onto larger ramps to kind of impress the normal eye a little bit more. Because let's be real, Normal, everyday people see the mega ramp and they're like, that thing is freaking crazy. When a lot of us that have ridden the mega ramp, just even the gap, know that it's not that hard. Really quickly, again, I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm not trying to attack anyone in particular. I'm not trying to attack any, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just telling you guys, this is what I think. That's 3. I have a feeling that there's one more. I just can't remember what it is. I remember. I'm actually in this class, so I'm actually a person that needs to change my ways in this. But it is what it is. There are a few people in the sport that do this, but not enough. There aren't that many people in this sport that actually train correctly. Now, what do I mean by train? I don't mean just riding and practicing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that go to the gym and work out 6 days a week. People that eat correctly. People that specifically nutrition-wise. People that drink the right things. Like things like that. There's not enough of that. Period. Again, I'm not excluding myself. I eat decently well. I eat a lot of salad. I drink a lot of like non-calorie things, a lot of water, things like that. Although I need to start going to the gym more because that's the class where I lack, and it's mainly because of the fact that I'm freaking busy so much. I could change that. I'm not gonna give myself any excuses because there are no excuses for anything, and I hate excuses, but again, it is what it is at this point. And there are a few people out there. I'll give a couple names. Chris Ferris. Chris Ferris, I know, goes to the gym. I don't know how much he goes to the gym, but I know he does train. Coda definitely trains a lot, and I don't know how much he trains right now because he hasn't really been scootering as much as he used to, at least not that I've seen. But I know that when he was at the top of his game, he's winning every single contest. He had the advantage of the fact that he worked out. You know, he went to the gym. He ran a lot. He swam. I heard he did a lot of swimming. He ate correctly. That stuff makes a huge difference in your riding. So if you want to better yourself as a rider, don't just go to the skate park. That's not where it ends. It's not specifically, well, I mean, it does have to do with your skill, but your skill comes, there's a price. You got to go to the gym. You got to work out. Now, I've gone to the gym many times. I've definitely had points in my life where I worked out a lot more than I'm working out right now. But again, it is what it is. I'm a lot busier now because of the fact that I have my merch business and I have the vlog to take care of. I got a lot more things to take care of. So getting to the gym is a little bit difficult for me, but again, it's not really an excuse. It just is what it is right now, and I need to change that soon. I think that's something that needs to change in the sport because I do think that it would legitimize it a little bit, and just this is more so to the normal everyday person as opposed to just specifically a scooter rider, because your skills matter, but what you look like and how your body functions, that matters too. Before I end this video, again, I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm not trying to attack any single person. I'm not trying to attack anybody's tendencies, and I'm not trying to change you. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just hoping that one day the sport will evolve and some of these things will just kind of fade away. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and let me know if you guys do agree with me. Let me know if you disagree with me in the comments. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on some of the things that I brought up in this video. But until next time, I'm out. Later.